And that lead singer is none other than Kristy Johnson, and we have her in the house right now. What is up, Kristy? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How's it going?
It's awesome, man. I was telling her on break, everybody, she's like, just her hair is on point. She looks so beautiful. She's got the cool lighting in the background. I mean, we should do this every week as like a team show or something with your setup there. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
Seriously,
really
you do.
To say that.
You really do. Well, thanks so much for joining. I told everybody earlier that you're not only this amazing singer for several bands here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but you're also a volunteer for Breast Cancer Can Stick It. And we're so thankful for you and everything that you do for Breast Cancer Can Stick It. You're just a wonderful representation of our passion for fighting breast cancer. So thank you for everything that you do, girl.
Oh, stop it. I'm happy to do that because it's an organization that's very dear to me, not just because of you, but for a number of reasons.
Yeah. And I do want to talk about that. But before we get into anything Breast Cancer Can Stick It related, I am really anxious and I want to dive right in to how it was that you got started in music in the first place, because I've known you for several years now, and I don't think we've ever had this conversation. And just so everyone else watching knows, Kristy is like my go-to chick rocker sister out there in the DFW community, because it's a very male dominated world, right? And so I got my chick, and so it's so cool to have a close friend who's in the music industry here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that I can talk to, and we can talk about. I didn't get the bathroom photos together from our San Antonio gig like I said I would, but I call her from gigs. I'm like, dude, have you seen the bathroom here? And she's like, what? So anyway, aside from that, I really want to hear how you got started in music.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a very musical family on my mother's side, and both my grandmother and my grandfather were very, very musical people, sang, played multiple instruments. They're kind of like Glenn. And I'm like the least musical person. I can only like fake my way through one or two instruments and I sing. But they are both passed, sadly. But my grandmother in particular, she was the vocalist, and she sang with Patti Page. She was she was a big deal at her heyday. And when I was really little and we'd go to see her, she would always sing to me, and I had like these toy walkie-talkies, and she'd have me go to another room in the house and she would sing to me on the walkie-talkie. And I just thought that was the greatest thing ever. And my grandfather, who was a very big jazz man, he just loved jazz and played trumpet really, really well. In fact, he was the lead trumpet player in Bob Will's band, and hated every minute of it because it was Western swing. And he was so not a Western swing guy.
He was like, this is not my jam.
This is so not his jam.
Right.
But he needed to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So it became his jam, whether he liked it or not.
Right.
And but through them, I think I always had, I was so fond of them, and I love them so much. It was just a very musical household, and I there was no way I wasn't going to go in every direction I could. And so all through school, I took private lessons for voice, and played French horn in band.
Hold on.
One way or the, I know.
No, what's funny is we haven't had this conversation before, and I too played French horn. I'm serious. No, I played French horn, dude. I was first chair out of 3. Seriously.
The French horn rocks.
It does.
You want the emotion, you go to the French horn.
Exactly.
The sweeping emotion. I'm crying.
It was
so dramatic.
Yeah, it was the main instrument, I think, in the Falcon Crest theme song, if you remember that from the 80s. Falcon Crest, and I was like, that's French horn, man. That's cool. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyway, I had to jump in there and say that because we're two rocker chicks that played French horn. I mean,
Played
what are the
French
chances of
horn,
that?
man.
Anyway, continue.
That's
Sorry. Yeah, that's
wild.
crazy, dude.
That is so bizarre. I had things you didn't know.
I know.
I'm just so surprised to know that. But I went into band with the intent of course, playing trumpet like my grandfather, because why not? And they said, we have like 90 million trumpets. How about something else? And somehow I ended up with a French horn. And I still love that instrument. It's just, who gets the call to play French horn?
It's true. And
so
that's exactly what happened to me. In fact, I was playing trumpet in 6th grade, and they were like, we have too many trumpet players and you suck on trumpet.
Yes.
they're like, why don't you play French horn? And so I did that. But yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, it is a fun instrument though, and it's not super easy to play. I don't think, you have to have your hand just right and everything. And
you
yeah,
do.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. And I think I also remember when they said we have 90 million trumpets, I said, how about flute? They said we have 20 million of those. So
yeah.
Like, okay,
and
you tell me what I can play.
I know, every woman we knew played flute. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. So how old were you when you played French horn?
I started a little bit later than most people. I started in 8th grade. Most people start in 6th.
Uh-huh.
And it was because they wouldn't let me do choir and band until then. And played French horn all the way through high school. And when I first got to Stephen F. Austin, although the marching part was short-lived because I decided to make vocal the focus.
So there are some marching band photos out there somewhere of Kristy Johnson?
There are, and they need to stay hidden.
Come on, man.
I've always been the biggest dork.
And, no,
and I'm still trying to work my way out of my awkward phase. But that was especially bad back during marching band days. But it was actually some of the best fun I ever had.
Oh,
and I loved it. And oddly enough, I was closer to the people in band than I was in choir, even though voice was my preferred. That was my go-to.
So
I had great times in marching band.
Well, I remember there being choir, when I was growing up and everything. But like, what did you guys have, like performances like at the school, and like what would you do? Like with band, you have these recitals and stuff, and then you'd have marching band. It all leads to marching band. But when you're in like high school, what do you do with choir? Do they have recitals and things like that? I was really drunk in high school, so I don't remember what happened. Did I really just say that? I hope my parents aren't watching. I was totally sober in high school. I don't know. Sober.
For both, I'm sure you remember UIL and solo and ensemble, and those things apply both for voice and for instrumental. And I was into all that, but probably the big driver for me was show choir. And that's where I kind of started into more contemporary popular music. And so we had all the formal choral stuff going on in the background, but then there was show choir it was all about popular music. And that was a blast. Did
you guys have like routines and stuff, or was it standing there and you had like routines and like?
No, it was choreographed to an extent. There were pieces of it that were just very, hey, we're gonna sing a song,
right?
Yeah, and then other things that had a little bit more choreography and dance to it to make it more polished, I guess. And it was like six people, 8 people, 4 guys, 4 girls, and we'd go to middle schools to do these shows and other places like Kiwanis Club and Lions Club and things like that, which at the time, that was gigging for me.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt.
Equivalent to a gig to middle schooler and high schooler, and I loved every minute of it.
That's so cool. I had no idea about really that. Yeah, but I mean, it's all about like your passion for singing and for music. And to have it go back into your high school years, and to have all the schooling behind that, and just to wrap yourself up in music like that is so cool. I was mentioned earlier, like you said, I didn't do drums or percussion in school, for whatever reason, I've said this a few times, for whatever reason, I thought that wasn't cool. I wanted to play like a drum set, but somehow French horn was, Kristi. I don't know, dude.
But French horn,
that's when the cool came in. Yeah, exactly.
It worked for me.
See? All the cool kids played French horn, man. Come on. So from there, you graduated. I know, get in the game. So you had all that. You went to Stephen F. Austin, and you did music throughout college. Yeah. What'd you get a degree in? I'm just curious.
It was vocal performance was my study and music education, and I didn't get the degree. I left a year early for, well, a number of reasons, but I didn't finish.
Yeah.
So there's my whole bing.
Yeah. See, and that's it's funny because like I feel like we have so many things in common with that, because I went to school for music at UNT, and I went for 2.5 years, and I dropped out of college, and I stopped going at that point too, because, you know, again, I had to keep up my hobby of drinking. So, you know, it was really important to me at that time. For those watching, I've been sober for longer than most of you guys have probably been alive at this point. But yeah, so okay, so then at what point did you like get in your very first band? Like, how old are you and what happened and all that?
That's such a bizarre situation, how that unfolded, because I've always been a rocker girl, but that's not where I started performing, because the school, my high school, Lakeview, Centennial, and Garland, at the time there was a lot of involvement in country music and the Opry circuit. And it was kind of like, if you want to sing, you're doing the Opry circuit and country music, and that's where I started. And I had a ball with it. I really did, because I did, you know, Johnny High and all these various cities that have an Opry circuit, and just had an absolute ball with it. But kind of like my grandfather with playing Western swing, and when he was a jazz man, he might have done it and he might have enjoyed it because it was music, but it's not, you know, what's in your soul and in your blood. And that's where I kind of made a shift to rock and roll, probably when I was around 21.
So that's when you shift.
That's when it shifted.
Yeah, that's when you shifted the type of music you wanted to perform, or was that actually, were you listening to rock and roll growing up? Like, were you into?
Absolutely.
Okay, so but you just weren't singing it until later.
Right.
Yeah.
The opportunity wasn't there. I mean, I was too young to go into bars
right.
and clubs, and you know, there's always, you know, the kids in the neighborhood, let's start a band, you know.
Right.
It doesn't ever really
right
go anywhere at that age, because nobody knows what the hell they're doing. But
right.
there were adults involved in all these organizations that could guide you through these performance opportunities, and that's where, you know, it was there. So I took it and had a lot of fun. It just wasn't rock and roll fun.
Yeah, it wasn't fulfilling for what you really wanted to do and what you were passionate about doing with your voice. So
right.
So that finally switched over, and then you got into your first band. And what was that band about? Were you guys a cover band? Were you an original band? What was the name of the band?
It was called Poetic Justice.
Wait a minute. Did you guys? Okay, I know, but like, see, okay, so Poetic Justice, and you guys played in the Dallas. Were you in the Dallas area at this time?
Yeah. In the Dallas area, and it was some original music as well. It was one of those things where, even back then, it's the same kind of curse. You know, you want to do, no, I want to do my own music, and venues were still, nope, you want to play what everybody knows and can sing
exactly. Yeah. So what venues were you playing back then with Poetic Justice in the Dallas area?
There were so many, actually, a number of different groups that I was with at the same time, and would weave in and out of them. And for a while was still doing country too, because that didn't just stop, it phased out.
Yeah, sure.
To phase out of that. But there was just so many things that were going on at that time. And it was a difficult time for me. It really was. but it also has some of the best memories for shaping me musically and figuring out what it is that I wanted to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's I was asking about, where you had played because the name honestly sounds familiar. I used to
Oh,
book, venues, and, I thought maybe you played at the basement one time. I wasn't sure.
we did play at the basement
Uh-huh,
and Poor David's Pub because
uh-huh.
that place has been around forever and it has evolved and even changed locations.
Yeah, right, exactly,
Um,
yeah.
but just an awful lot of fun in that point in my life.
Wow. Did you guys, release any albums, or is there any music anywhere that we could find from back in those days?
No, there was, and just to be honest, that went through a divorce that cost me a whole lot of my musical history, a lot of photos, a lot of recordings, a lot of things that I'll never get back, and that's kind of unfortunate. So there's a big chunk of my history that's I can't even throw it back up there and say, look how ridiculous this was. And I really hate that. There's a lot that I don't have anymore.
Yeah. That does suck, but, I mean, the trails you're blazing now, who cares about that? It's just like a puff of smoke behind you. You're just like, woohoo, let's go, man! All these fans you got cooking right now, and I want you to start telling me a little bit about Ever the Essence here in a bit. But is there any other music or other previous groups that you played in, or any releases that you want to point out that you did prior to the Even It Up phase of your life?
Oh gosh, it was nothing. I'm honestly nothing of substance. Nothing that I can say this was such a big deal, such a big accomplishment. I did a lot of collaborating with a number of different projects and different types of projects to get to what I wanted. And then of course I took a hiatus when I had Ariel because I didn't want to be that person that had a baby in a bar,
You have a baby in a
in
bar.
a bar.
Right.
So I bowed out of performing for a long time while she was growing up, and then when I met Glenn, which that was just a gift from God. I couldn't believe that there was anyone that was so talented and he loves the same music I do. We laugh at all the same things and we laugh a lot. The man is funny. And we have such a good time. But he was in the same boat. He had been in bands his whole life, um, and had two boys that were only a year apart. And he was trying to raise the boys and couldn't perform and do the kind of projects that he did when he was younger and before he had kids. So we were kind of at the same place at the same time when we met, where we loved music and wanted to do it, and we hadn't been able to for 10 years. And that's when we got together, and we said, when we're ready to do this, we're going to do it our way. It's because we'd always been in someone else's project and following their rules. And once the kids were at an age where they were into it, they were like, "We love the idea. Y'all go ahead." And so
My parents
that's
rock.
yeah, and that's when Burning Sky was born, and
Uh-huh.
that was probably 2007, I think. And from Burning Sky, and that was and it still is a great project. It's just where that's where we started together, and so for me, that's where music started taking on meaning, because then I could do that with him. And that that set list has always been so much fun because we look for songs that are, yes, they're popular and people love them, and they've heard them, but we kind of like digging in and finding that song that people love but they haven't heard. Everybody loves Journey. I love Journey a ton. I know you do too. Um, and that's we've got like a handful of Journey songs in our set list, but we've also got some of those weird things that are like, oh man, I haven't heard that in so long. And that band has always been so fun. So we were plugging along and having a great time with gigs and loved what we were doing with that. And then all this tribute business started coming into play.
You say, Charles darn tribute business came into play.
Freaking tribute.
I know.
And
It's like all over, all at once.
I didn't want anything to do with it. I really didn't. And I was like, nobody wants to hear the same band's music all the time. Well, turns out they do. And so it was one of those, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And we went with Heart because, well, Heart really is that was my first love of music. And they have so many songs and such an extensive catalog that is just amazing, that I was like, well, of course, I just got to go find a Nancy. And we just
I'll just snap my fingers. No, I could imagine it wouldn't be. Yeah, because you need not only a great singer, but somebody who can also play guitar, look the part, do that kick, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we auditioned, was interviewed too. Talked to a number of people, and like, this person had the perfect look but couldn't sing and was okay on guitar, and then this person could play the fire out of the guitar, but they were like, ain't no way I'm gonna sing. And it was one of those things where we had to, I don't want to just go with anybody who's a female that can play guitar. We gotta have the ability, you gotta have the voice and the ability to harmonize. The harmonies are so important. And I think I came across Casey on Band Mix, and it's so funny when I think about that, because she is the sweetest person. I mean, she is just a doll, and she was so shy when I got her over for an audition. I don't think she made eye contact with any of us the whole time.
Wow.
I think she was just like looking down at the ground.
She's like, okay, I'm here for this right now.
I'm here for the thing.
Yeah, I'm ready to do that deal. Yeah. Yeah.
But she played incredibly well and could harmonize and sing. And it was like, you want to do this? Let's go. And that's when Even It Up took off.
So what year was that? When did that happen?
We launched in October 2015. So we just crossed our 5-year anniversary.
Wow.
In October.
And when did Burning Sky Band start?
That was like 2007, the tail end of 2007.
Gotcha. Wow. And so for those of you watching, a lot of the members in Burning Sky Band are also in Even It Up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
With I think the only difference is Jeremy, right?
Jeremy is a fantastic lead guitar player for a cover band for Burning Sky.
Right.
And for Even It Up, Brian Fullenwider, who's also bass for Burning Sky, he pulled over into Even It Up. Glenn, obviously, in both. And Pat is in both. Pat Calabrese, drummer, does both. So Casey, once in a while, she's come on to our Burning Sky show to do something every once in a while, but she's not like a formal member. But we pull her on to do something fun once in a while.
That's so fun, and it's so great that you find people to collaborate with that are interested in doing other projects with you, and because you already have that connection, and it can be hard to find people that you can work well with in a band. I mean, it's a relationship. A lot of people who haven't been in a band before don't understand that it's just like, it's like a relationship, and you have to be able to get along. You're going to have your arguments, you're going to have your disagreements, but at the end of the day, you got to love each other, and that's going to power you through. And so to find people that are willing to do multiple different projects with you is a really important thing. So that's super cool. So that kind of leads us up into what's happening now. So I want you to tell everybody about the newest venture.
Oh, ever the essence, and talk about a departure from everything that we've been doing, which is actually kind of the point. And this was something that was born out of quarantine, boredom, I think, honestly. We talked about Evanescence as an option for a tribute um, years ago, because I love that band, and I don't know how it, when we talked about doing Even It Up, when we talked about Heart, it was one of the things that we tossed around. But it was just because of my long-term love affair with Heart that we went in that direction. But we thought about it again a couple of years later when we started Hella Good.
Yeah, we
The
totally skipped that one. I was as you were talking, I was like, yeah, you're like, oh, all these damn tribute bands, and then you do Even It Up, and then you do Hella Good, and then now you got
yeah,
this. It's like you really are. If you can't beat them, join them, jump right in there. But Hella Good, I never got a chance to see, but that was a No Doubt tribute band, right?
yes, and it was so fun. It was
Yeah.
very short-lived though, because we launched um, in the summer of 2017, I think. And like literally 2 weeks after we launched, I took a job as vice president of trade shows at the World Trade Center, and immediately was traveling everywhere and working some really unholy hours and a schedule that was just crazy. And it was all we could do to keep even it up on the bus, on the rails. It was so hard. I mean, Burning Sky completely, I think we didn't even gig that year because it was just so hard to try and figure out how to keep things going. And even it up being the project that had the most momentum and was moving the best, got whatever time and attention we could do. And we just had to fold it. We had to fold it. There was no way we could keep all of that going on. And so when things have changed now, and I left that job because after almost 2 years, it was killing me. It was absolutely killing me, and certainly killing my creativity, because I just didn't have the time to put into music and what I loved the most. And so when quarantine hit and we were all just, what are we gonna do? We started talking about another project again. And some people had said, you should do the No Doubt again. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But circled back to Evanescence again, and we were just like, that's it. That's the one we got to do. It's a very different thing for me vocally, because my voice lends itself a little bit more to Heart, just because stylistically my natural style is a little bit more like Anne's. And Amy Lee has such a different, beautiful way around alternative metal. She's got this incredibly beautiful voice. It has a very straight tone with minimal vibrato, and it just sounds like a laser. It's just a
That's a really
beautiful.
good way to put it. It is like a laser. It's just like it cuts
Yes.
through, and it's just, yeah, it's very powerful. Very powerful.
And it's something that is just so lovely to me and so different from my style. So in working with David Houston, who's such a good buddy of mine and also my vocal coach, working with him to be able to emulate that sound has been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work. But it's been really great though to have that band come together the way it has. And the only people from our other projects, Glenn again, obviously, and Phil Scholing, who's just an incredible lead guitar player. But the other two pieces for bass, a gentleman named Amar Khan, who was not known to me. He was not in our music circles until he came over to audition. And Tommy Gunn, who is the drummer. Both of those guys were new to me, and they're just fantastically gifted. I cannot tell you how amazed I was at their talent level. And they have a passion for this kind of music. And it's not to diminish anyone's ability or anything on any project that we have. Sometimes it's just a matter of, I like this music better. And in this case, all five of us in Ever the Essence really love that progressive metal alternative, heavy yet angelic sound, that comes together for something that is so different from a lot of what we've seen in tributes for a while. And we wanted to do something different, like, let's do another Motley Crue tribute. I knew I was gonna do. We don't need another one of those.
There are a few of those around. Yeah, we've got they're really good, but there are several. Yeah, it's crazy.
So nobody yet in Dallas has done Evanescence, and
Yeah.
it was such an easy thing to do because the music really is so good, and they have like this fan base of like 22 million fans, and it was like, that's what we're gonna do.
Wow,
And so
that's
that's
so
how
fun.
that's how we ended up there.
Well, while you were talking, at one point I showed on the screen your flyer for your show coming up, Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. I think it's in January the 9th, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
And
yes,
it's with
January 9th.
With Creed and another group there that just spaced
Flannel
out.
Box.
Yes, Flannel Box. So that's going to be
Yeah.
a really cool show. Is that y'all's actual debut, or are you playing before then?
It looks like it's probably going to be our debut. We've had a number of scenarios that have come up, gosh, starting a month ago, but getting everybody, when everyone's in at least two of the bands, it's been a little tricky trying to get that whole thing booked and scheduled at a time when everybody is available. And I don't want to start out with a sub, so we're trying to keep the original group intact, for our debut performance, and there's a chance that could happen a little sooner than January 9th, but I would bank on that being our debut.
That's awesome. And you heard it here, Ever the Essence. Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, January 9th. Be there, man. That's so cool. That's so cool. We've had a lot of people commenting over here, Kristi, so I need to make sure and give them a shout out. Some people had some questions for you, actually. First, I want to say that Colin says Kristi Johnson is such an amazing woman. Love and miss you. And
I love Colin.
yeah, he's awesome, and he is he's out there on the music scene. He's out there loving every band. We're all thankful to have Colin at our shows. He's amazing. Dee Dee says,
he's a big supporter.
Yeah, totally. Dee Dee says that she played clarinet. This was back when we were talking about all the French horn stuff and going through. Dee Dee is awesome. Rocking the clarinet, dude. That's right, man. Hey, Jan Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen's dad, played clarinet, so it's rock and roll, man. Deborah Gloria says, fun fact, I was a trumpet player, so Deborah's in the house. What's up, Deborah?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, we need to start like some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of brass band or something, the three of us. And we'd be
brass geeks.
Yeah, brass geeks are us. I don't know. And we'll bring Dee Dee too. She can play her clarinet. Why not? We'll start this our own little side act. And we've got Mandy says, Deborah Glory, that's awesome. You're going to have to show us sometime. Deborah says, question for Kristi. What is your all-time favorite song that you enjoy singing?
Oh, that's so hard. That is so hard. Deborah Gloria can probably answer that faster than I can myself. It would probably have to be Mistral Wind by Heart. And
she actually put that in the comments earlier.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. She did. So funny.
Me.
That's awesome.
And it's just because that, a lot of people think of like Stairway to Heaven as the quintessential rock song, and it is. There's so much beauty and musicianship in that song, but for anyone who knows and loves Heart and knows the song Mistral Wind, they know what I'm talking about. That is the epitome of just the greatest rock song.
That's very cool.
It just is.
Yeah. And then we've got here, Mandy says, did Kristi take professional singing lessons? Yeah, I think she probably asked that earlier on, and where you talked about that you studied throughout school, and you still have a vocal coach to this day, which I think is so awesome. because, you know, we can never stop learning our instrument, you know, whether it's your voice or drumming or anything.
Yes, I've never gotten to that point where I went, I have arrived. I am vocally
Yeah.
where I want. I still like, I'm still trying to get through a show where I feel you nailed it. And I never feel that I have. And there's always so much to work on and so much to develop that yes, I think I first started taking voice lessons in middle school. It was middle school and continued through high school, and obviously through college. And probably stopped about the time that I left Stephen F. Austin, and then resumed with David. I guess it's been a couple of years ago, and I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, of course, as a human being, but also as a vocal coach. He's just been very, very effective at helping me harness that sound and get the most out of my voice that I can for some of that power rock stuff.
Yeah,
He's just very good.
yeah, and he's an amazing singer, and he is an amazing person too.
He
You're right.
is.
Love you, David Houston. If you're out there, dude, we love you, man.
David Houston, DallasVoiceCoach.com.
There you go. .com. I have to spin an ad for him sometime. Deborah Gloria has a question. This is a really important one. She says, does Kristi know that I am one of her biggest fans?
Oh, I think I'm one of Deborah Gloria's biggest fans.
Man, you'll have to get in line, dude.
I know.
Deborah Gloria
Take
is
a number.
awesome. I know, right? She's
is.
amazing. Yeah, totally amazing.
It makes my day that she said that, because I think so highly of her for so many reasons. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you the things that she's been able to achieve for us in all three projects for promotional photography is just stellar. I mean, nobody looks as good as Deborah makes.
Oh, no kidding, man. Yeah, she's the best, man. The best. I think we're blessed to have her in our lives for sure, and no one can top her work.
And I have so much fun working with her. I have so much fun working with her.
Well, and
she gets into a creative zone and she gets going, and she's got ideas that are just phenomenal. And I think she got to explore more creativity on the Ever the Essence shoot. And we've had 2 of those, and a lot of those pictures haven't even surfaced yet. So, but she got really wickedly, wildly creative on that stuff. And I'm just so grateful to her as a photographer, but certainly as a very important person and friend in my life.
Yeah. Amen to that, man. You got my vote there. She's awesome. Total blessing to have Deborah Gloria in your life for sure. Jennifer has a question. She said, what are the top 5 bands not including Heart? Your top 5 favorite bands not including Heart?
Not including Heart, not including Evanescence.
She didn't say not including Evanescence, but maybe make it more interesting by not.
By not. That would probably be a given, wouldn't it? I would say Boston, Styx, Journey, Elton John, and Rush. And Zeppelin.
Nice. Yeah, you can't. But I love that you had Elton John in there, and I just watched Rocket Man the other day. Holy, such a great movie. And when you were talking earlier about choreographed moves and singing, I immediately thought of Rocket Man, and I pictured you out in the street doing all the dances. You can tell, yeah, you would have had a blast. Hey, what's up? That's awesome. Patty Allen Driver says you're both amazing. I love you, Patty. It's good to see you here. Chris Rafe is here. She says, I'm fangirling out. I'm fangirling out right now. Both of you are amazing. We love you, Chris. Love you, girl.
I love Chris. I met her at your wedding.
I know, dude. It's crazy. She's so awesome.
She is just folded into our lives like she's always been there. I just adore her. She's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Is funny.
Yeah,
we'll send each other texts sometimes during the day, just stupid stuff that probably most people wouldn't find funny, but we do. I just love her.
Those are the best kind of friends, man. For real.
I agree.
For shizzle. Colin says it's time for a collaboration on a song with April and Kristi. What an idea, Kristi.
I would do it.
I wonder what we could do. Maybe we'll do something sometime soon, even. Who could tell?
That would be great.
Yeah,
That would be
dude.
great.
Awesome. Chris says, I can't wait to see y'all. I miss you, girl. Dee Dee says, woohoo! Yay for clarinet players. I haven't played since high school. It's okay, Dee Dee, because when we start our band with 2 French horns, a trumpet, and a clarinet, it won't matter anymore how long it's been since we played, man. Trust me. We're going to be the bomb. Chris.
It's going to be rocking.
Yes. Chris says, if you could sit and have dinner with any singer, alive or past, who would that be? Man, it's one of those questions. Those are rough ones, dude.
That is a tough question. A lot of people would probably expect me to say Anne of Heart. I gotta say though, I don't know that would be my choice, only because I've met her now, and we had a meet and greet, and she's a very private, shy person when it comes to meeting people. And when I think of, I want to have dinner and have like this incredible conversation with someone, some artist, who I'd love to talk to is Prince. I would love to have dinner with Prince.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a solid choice right there.
That would just be so interesting and amusing, and all the things that you would want to have out of your dinner.
Yeah. Seriously. That's a solid choice, man. That's a good one. Looks like we have another question. Deborah says, one of my favorite things you do while performing is going into the audience when you sing. What about love? So she loves that when you do that.
Oh,
that's
so sweet. And I love doing that. It's been, obviously now in current COVID environment, I remember when we went to the last show we did before lockdown was in San Antonio, and it was March 7th. And the night before, we were watching, like the news came on, and they were just starting to make a fluff about COVID. And I was like, I looked over at Glenn. It's like, dude, maybe I shouldn't go. And maybe I should just like stay on the stage. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up doing it. And then, of course, we got home and everything went into lockdown. I was like, oh my God.
It's over. I'm going to be in the hospital in like a week. I know. I remember that too. Yeah.
Freaked out.
Yeah, I think the weekend before lockdown, I think we didn't get people up on stage, as I recall. We just were like, let's not get people on stage. Let's go around. And Ginger was heavy with his Lysol can, and I was heavy with my hand sanitizer, especially anything that Michael Diamond touched. I had to whip out the hand sanitizer. Yeah, for real.
I'll spray all y'all.
I'll spray all y'all. Deborah says, thank you for the photo. Love you guys. And yeah, man, totally. DeborahGloriaPhotography.com. You guys got to check that out. And Jennifer says, yes. Jennifer says, yes, I love Boston, and that Chris said you had good answers for everything there. And I loved your answers too. I mean, Boston, man, that's some amazing music. Like, I want to cover some Boston, it
is such great music.
Yeah. Do you guys cover any Boston and Burning Sky Band?
No, and that's so bizarre.
That's tragic, man. Fix it.
How did that happen?
Right.
And it should be something that we fix. I think that we were about ready to branch into that 5 years ago when we started on our tribute. And so I'll be honest, some of that with Burning Sky had to kind of take a back seat to, developing other projects. But, I gotta say, I'm seeing venues kind of return to cover bands a little bit, because Burning Sky has been getting, we've been getting gigs. We gigged on Halloween at Chop Shop, and just the diverse, going back to, I want to hear a little bit of everything. I think there's some of that's starting to come back and be popular again with audiences. So we need to evaluate some Boston and some other things to pop back into the set list for Burning Sky.
I would love to see you guys do some Boston. So tell whoever to put the Facebook Live on, so there's a recording in case I can't make it. So I want to see that for sure, man. Well, I noticed that we kind of went a little bit over, and I want to thank you for staying late with me. I kept you an extra, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. We started a little early, so thanks for hanging out with me tonight, Kristy. It's so cool to like get the backstory on you and understand, you know, where your music career started. If you guys joined late, please watch the replay. Kristy's story is a really good one, and can't wait to see the new band out and about, and just love seeing your face, and so glad we had a chance to talk today.
Oh, the pleasure was mine. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
You bet, girl. You have a great night, and tell Glenn hello, and we'll see you online again really soon, I'm sure.
I will. Take care.
All right, take care, girl. All right, guys, that was Kristy Johnson, man. Even It Up, Ever the Essence, and Burning Sky Band. So be sure to check them out. They are all over the magical interwebs, so you can catch them anywhere out there. Again, Even It Up, the ultimate tribute to Heart. Ever the Essence, the Evanescence tribute band, and Burning Sky Band. Check them out, man. They are so amazing.